This is The Sports Show. It's presented by the Denver Post. I'm excited about today. We'll be here for the next hour with a lot of discussions about the Denver Broncos, the NFL, the Denver Nuggets. And here is Mark Kiszla, the premier sports columnist in Denver and Colorado with the Denver Post. I'm Woody Paige. I don't need an introduction. And what is our big stuff today?
Who should start at quarterback for the Denver Broncos? You decide, and please tell us your answer in our poll at the Sports Show on Twitter. We have
or at the Facebook page.
Or at the Facebook
Sports page.
Baseball Hall of Fame chatter, and Emmanuel Mudiay is back. Does it matter for the Nuggets?
It might. They actually may want to sit him for a while longer. I want to get right into this. I looked at the Denver Post poll, and we know that fans are a little bit fickle, but 70% of the respondents tend to disagree with you. They say that Peyton Manning should be the playoff starter. Why are those people, who I consider very smart, they pay attention to the Denver Broncos, they know their football, they are fans, they're following this closely like you do all year long. Why, based on what you've written this week, do you think Brock Osweiler should start? Why are 70% of the people in Colorado and around the world wrong?
Well, as you well know, Woody, the customer is always right, but the fan is often out to lunch. And Brock Osweiler has been a better quarterback than Peyton Manning this season. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. There are 32 teams in the NFL, and Peyton Manning is the 34th ranked quarterback in the league. That means that he's not even that great as a backup. Brock Osweiler, touchdown to interception ratio has been much better. Only one quarterback this year for the Broncos beat Tom Brady. That was Brock Osweiler. That was not Peyton Manning. And we have a little visual evidence, sir, if we can call that up. There is Peyton Manning getting decked by Damian Square in his great comeback game. And he was lucky to get up from that hit. So I'm worried about Mr. Manning's health. I am perfectly willing to let him provide the spark, but if he plays 4 quarters, the poor old guy's going to get broken in 2. He almost got broken in 2 right there.
You're supposed to ask me a question.
Oh, now you're going to slam me. Well, why are these 70% of the smart readers of the Denver Post correct in that your man Peyton should start?
Well, I apologize, first of all. I have no visual aids. I don't need visual aids. I don't need tape. I don't need comments from around the league, or I don't need to defame the fans and the people who responded in the poll.
You don't need facts.
I need to sit here and tell you, you said, oh, let me give you fact. Let me give you facts. The Broncos, you know this. You were one of the ones proclaiming it. Didn't the Broncos have 5 straight turnovers with Brock Osweiler quarterback on Sunday?
They weren't his fault.
I repeat myself. Fact. Did the Broncos have 5 straight offensive turnovers when Brock Osweiler was the quarterback?
He did, sir.
Okay. Not he. You said the
They
Broncos.
did, sir.
Did the Broncos have any turnovers when Peyton Manning was in the game?
No, but who leads the league in interceptions?
You're talking about an old Peyton Manning. I'm going to get to that in a moment. Did they score on 4 of 5 possessions when Peyton Manning was in the game?
Right, they did.
Did Peyton Manning look healthier to you than he did the last time we saw him?
He looked like he couldn't walk last time.
I guess that's a yes. I'll take that as a yes. Which of the two quarterbacks is undefeated when he does not have a torn plantar fasciitis?
Undefeated win.
Peyton Manning told me you had interviewed him the week before.
Right.
Off to the side. I did the same this week because I want to keep up with you. And I said to him straight out, when did it start bothering you?
Right.
I said, there's all of these reports. And he said, it started training camp. He said, I could deal with it. I tore it in Indianapolis. So I repeat my question. Who is undefeated when he doesn't have a plantar fasciitis? That would be Peyton Manning.
In a quarter and a half, he's undefeated. You have to win 3 more games to win the Super Bowl. That's 12
No,
quarters.
go back. You don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. He was undefeated until the Indianapolis game, correct? Peyton Manning as a quarterback.
Yes.
They were 7-0, if I remember.
Despite him.
Oh, so okay. So with the other guy, Brock, they beat New England.
They beat Cincinnati. The two biggest wins of the season.
They lost at home to Oakland, correct?
Yes, that was the worst loss of the season.
They lost another game.
To Pittsburgh,
at Pittsburgh, not scoring in the second half. They didn't come back and beat Kansas City when he came in the lineup. So,
because your man messed it up so bad.
Here's what my man has, and your boy doesn't have. My man, Manning,
yes,
has the ability to come on the field, read a defense, and actually play to that defense, as he did. And I pointed this out to you, and I've been around this game, forgive me, longer than you have, that Peyton Manning actually took advantage of the blitz. He took advantage of it. You can show all the pictures you want to, but Peyton Manning in the game saw the blitz, where it was coming from, ran the play away from the blitz. Brock Osweiler doesn't have enough experience on the field to really, in one game, he has one other option available to him. Peyton Manning has 5 or 6 options. They have 3 or 4 different plays they can go to with Peyton Manning based on the defense. Brock has one other play he can go to. We saw that in the New England game where he went to C.J. Anderson, who scored a touchdown. But I want an experienced guy. How many games has Brock played in the playoffs? Can anybody help me? I don't remember.
0. How many times has Peyton Manning gone one and done in the playoffs? 9.
How many playoff games has he won?
11, and I believe he's lost 13.
How many Super Bowls has he won?
He won 1.
And lost 2.
Yeah.
The other guy hasn't played in the Super Bowl. He hasn't played in a playoff game. He hasn't had the opportunity to be one and done. He hasn't had the opportunity to be 3 and undone.
Yeah.
I'm just saying to you, I want a guy with experience. I want a guy that's been tournament tested. I want a guy that is the veteran guy. I want a guy that's healthy again. And he is never going to be 100%. Someone asked me today, what is his percentage? He will not deal in percentages about anything. What are the percentages you come back next year? He's told me over and over again, I don't answer percentage questions, but I would guess that he's 75, 80%.
I think you're right about that.
Give me that. Do you think, based on what you said the other day, in your column, you wrote that Brock Osweiler should be the starter and that Peyton Manning should be the closer. Does that mean both of them play in every game? Do you slip the closer in sometime before the end of the game, or are you planning on Brock to stink up the joint like he did the last time and Peyton has to come in and bail him out and save the team?
I guarantee this. If the Broncos have 3 games left in their season, if they go to the Super Bowl, you will see both quarterbacks play for this team. Because I don't think Peyton Manning can get through 3 full games, either with a foot injury or getting knocked on his duff and not being able to get back up. I think that they'll need both quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl.
And we got more of your visual aids of Brock in stocking cap looking up and saying, I think here's the quote that he actually said at that point. Yeah, he's doing a lot better job than me. Look at the scoreboard. What are the chances of an all wild card Super Bowl? What percentage you would put on that? You deal in percentages.
I do deal in percentages. I would say there's about a 15 to 20% chance of an all wild card Super Bowl, and I think that's pretty high, actually. I think Kansas City has a chance. I think Pittsburgh has a chance on the AFC side, and I think Seattle's going. So that both sides come together and it's all wild card. It's not unusual to see one wild card in the Super Bowl, but it's very unusual to see two. But this season, there's more chance of it happening than normal.
Mark Kiszla, last year, there were two number one seeds. Seattle was number one seed. New England was number one seed. I think that's only happened about 3 times over the last dozen years or so. So it's more usual that number one seeds don't get there. So that would not speak highly to the Denver Broncos' chances or even the Carolina Panthers' chances. I think they both have a chance of getting beat. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then the wild cards. Here's where I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to take it a step further. Kansas City has a legitimate chance, despite, in looking at their streak, and I have to bring this up to you, looking at their streak, they only beat 2 teams with winning records. With everybody talked about
all
that
season long, or
all season long.
Yeah. Well, the Broncos have more quality wins than the Chiefs do.
Yeah. So, let's downplay a bit that 10-game winning streak, because 8 of those 9 games were against teams that didn't have a winning record. The only one that did was the Denver Broncos.
Oops.
And they were playing with a guy that had a damaged foot that didn't belong on the field. We agreed on that. So, let's don't start the parade route in Kansas City yet. Pittsburgh, I love Pittsburgh. I love the way they're playing, except they had that burp. Head burp in the game against Baltimore Ravens, but Roethlisberger, he's been there twice. I'm going to give, yes, Seattle. We're all agreed Seattle could be the number one seed if you had reseeded teams to start it all over again. If the NCAA was picking, they would make Seattle a number one seed.
Yes, they would.
I think Green Bay at least has this much of a chance. So I think you've got 4 teams. Whenever you got Aaron Rodgers, you got a chance.
Yeah,
they had a chance to win the other night on the last play. They had won on the last play. Even though we found out that the Packers are frauds defensively and they don't have wide receivers, their running game's not great. As long as you got Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. So I give all 4 of them a chance. I would make it more like 25%, although that's difficult. And looking back, and I didn't spend enough time at it, of how many times 2 wild cards. But we've seen the Denver Broncos get there as a wild card and win.
Yes.
We've seen the Baltimore Ravens get there as a wild card.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a real opportunity.
This weekend, Kansas City at Houston, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Those 2 games will determine who the Broncos play in their first playoff game. Who should the Broncos be cheering for? Who should Bronco fans be cheering for?
Houston.
Yeah.
I think Houston coming here wouldn't have a chance. They don't have a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. They don't even have an Alex Smith. I don't even know who they have now. I mean, is Charlie Whitehurst there? No, I guess he's another. did they get Josh Freeman? Who is back at quarterback there? I don't even know. You got J.J. Watt. I asked the other night if Raheem Moore was starting for him, and one of our people said to me he was inactive the last 6 weeks. If you've gotten Raheem, he was the reason why they weren't in another Super Bowl. But I don't trust their defense beyond J.J. Watt, and I don't trust their offense that much. I would pull for, I'll sit here and say it, I pull for Houston. I think they beat Houston. Plus, Kubiak will want to stick it to the Texans. He'll want to, give them the business, as one of our late referees would say. Former referee, he's still alive. And in regard to the other one, Cincinnati's playing at home. It's tough to beat a team 2 out of 3 times. You can say it both ways. They've split the series. Pittsburgh won the last one. Dalton will probably be ready to play by then. I think there's a chance he might play. I didn't think that. Here's what he did as a starter. A.J. McCarron, and he screwed up that game with the bad snap. I don't know that they'd have won anyway. But A.J. McCarron, in his starts, never threw an interception. 6 touchdown passes, no interception. So he protects the ball except for that last play.
I think the Chiefs and the Steelers are the better teams in this game. The road teams, the wild card teams are the better teams, but I don't think both of them will win. And I'll throw this out. I think Pittsburgh goes to Cincy and beats the Bengals, but I think Houston in a slugfest beats your Chiefs, who you say have not beaten anybody.
They're not my Chiefs.
And that would mean the Steelers would play in Denver.
Which would you rather have, Houston or Pittsburgh?
Houston.
Okay. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, the premier men's health clinic in Colorado. Trust me, my friends over there, they can, in one visit, change your sex life, change your entire health outlook, reclaim the fun, excitement, and intimacy of sex through a unique program that focuses on the individual patient. It's not broad-based that everybody's going to be treated the same way. They find out exactly what's going on with you, and they treat you individually. You'll find a comfortable, relaxing environment. You won't be nervous about it. You can sit back, watch ESPN, get Colorado's licensed, experienced medical providers to do all the tests on you. They're focused on not only men's sexual health, but your health in general. RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com, 720-440-7900.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
I love arguing with you when you're wrong.
This is a sports show. That's the star of the show, Woody Paige. I'm Mark Kiszla. I hold down this chair. HGH and Peyton, I mean Ashley Manning. Should Peyton join Ryan Zimmerman and Ryan Howard in the lawsuit against Al Jazeera? And if he does not, does that make him look bad in the court of public opinion?
I went and looked at the report today from beginning to end. I'd read all of the report. I watched the entire report. They've updated it with responses from Peyton Manning, with James Harrison.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they've updated it. So in a court of law, forget about court opinion for a second, but in court of law, they're going to say, well, they wouldn't talk to us before we did this.
Right.
We reached out to them, because they kept saying that in the report. Well, we reached out, we requested a response, and to get one. They have shown in the United States, they might have a difficult chore in Britain because the laws about defamation are more sided toward the celebrity or whoever is bringing the
In
suit.
Britain,
yeah,
as opposed
in
to
the
the
United
United
States. It's so difficult. I've been on the other side of three times, and they had no chance. That there has to be significant malice and outrageous conduct by putting in. They have protected themselves by putting in what Peyton Manning responded, what others responded. I don't think there's any case. If I were Peyton Manning, I wouldn't go anywhere near this, because then you're going to have your wife dragged into it.
And I think it's very common or very reasonable to speculate that if it were just left up to Peyton Manning, he might go swinging after him. But because the focus of the Al Jazeera report was actually on his wife, which would and incriminated Peyton in the shadows, it would put the onus on Ashley Manning, and I don't think that Peyton wants to, force his wife to go through that.
Actually,
That
she
be my
would have
guess.
a better chance
Right.
if she sues independently of him,
Right.
joins the suit. But she's still enough in the public eye, even though you know well enough that she stays as far away from the public eye as any wife that I know. I mean, she never talks about it. I've talked to her
Yeah.
in a hallway out there. That's about the extent of her
Very quickly,
conversation.
do you think this report, what, if anything, does this have
Sure, I
impact on his legacy?
Not ultimately any more than Tom Brady. I
Yeah.
mean, Tom Brady's not going to be kept out of the Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning's not going to be kept out of there. Hell, Lawrence Taylor wasn't kept out, and he was a druggie. I mean, he was taking all sorts of stuff outside the lines, and he was I'm sure, having been on the committee at that time, he was a unanimous choice for the Hall of Fame. I think there's a guy on television that played linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens that was involved in a murder case. And do you think that's really hurt his legacy? It comes up on occasion, like everything does. But I genuinely believe it won't affect his legacy. But I also believe that he didn't do what they're accusing him of doing. But I will say this, and I told this to somebody today, what they say in the report, Sly, the guy who's kind of slippery.
The source.
And I'll talk to you about him some other time. We'll have another question about him. But he says in there they were shipping the stuff to Ashley, even in Florida. As I told someone today, they have a place in Florida.
Well, that's true. That's true. Peyton came out very strongly and said this is garbage. You know what? My advice to Peyton Manning would be let that garbage statement stand and let it go. And if you sue, it's going to keep churning the story. So let it go away.
Yep. Order Papa John's Broncos 18 special today. 2 large, 3-topping pizzas for just $18. 3 toppings. I would make mine pepperoni, sausage, and onions. How simple is that? And then the other one, you get some green peppers and pineapples and get that Hawaiian pizza using the promo code Broncos18 online at the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza
Better football.
at the new papajohns.com.
On the Sports Show with Mark Kiszla and Woody Paige, we continue our discussion of the Broncos, and that's not only a topic of discussion all over town here, but it hasn't really taken off. I mean, people are asking me, but with the controversy, I'm not seeing just everybody bubbling over, I think because of what's happened to it the last 3 years. But it's a national story year because people are considering nationally whether Peyton should start, whether Broncos start, can the Broncos blow another game at home? So it's a national story. We'll continue to talk about that. Broncos were given year-end reports in grades of A by both ESPN and Fox. I don't think they got together. Our friend Alex Marvez, who used to work here and comes on the show pretty regularly, gave the Broncos an A. The only higher grade was an A+ by Marvez in Fox to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina, Arizona, and Denver got A grades. How would you grade the Denver Broncos season? Would you grade it that high?
I'd give them an A, and I have to give them an A because I sat on this show prior to the season, and I told you that I thought the Broncos would finish 10-6. I told you it would come down to the last week of the season, and they would have to beat out the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, I got the last game of the season and beat out the Chiefs right, but I said they'd be 10-6. They were 12-4. They exceeded my expectations significantly. I have to give them an A, and I'll go one step further. You've been on Gary Kubiak's case all season long. I think he's done an amazing job. He's got a stinky offensive line. He's got an old, broken down Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he's guided this team very, very well.
Well, okay, now, since you've, did you hurt yourself patting yourself on the back?
I'm used to it. I'm limber.
Well, I picked the Broncos to go 12-4.
You got it exactly right.
I picked them to have the number 1 seed.
You got it exactly right.
I picked the Patriots to not be as strong as they were last year and to finish behind the Denver Broncos. But I picked them to go 11-5. But they still went 12-4, but they lost to the Broncos. That out of the way. Do you know, in your opinion, did Gary Kubiak have the greatest opening season? And I'm going to still answer the question, but did he have the best first season of any coach in the history of the Broncos?
Don't I have to consider at least Red Miller?
He was 12-2. This guy was 12-4.
Yeah.
I think 12-2 is better than 12-4. It's a percentage business. Yes, trust me.
4 minus 2.
I'm just saying, Red Miller doesn't get the love he deserves.
No, Red Miller has the best first season in Broncos history. Better.
But
I salute Kubiak, but Red Miller had a better season.
Yeah, you and I won't spend much time on this, but you and I, just because we criticize somebody doesn't mean we don't like them or don't think they've done a good job. You push your kids to be as good as they could possibly be. We push ourselves to be. I criticize myself more than I criticize anybody else. I don't do it publicly. Well, I do occasionally on television. I would give them a B. I'm going to tell you why. You're giving them an A. Well, I give the defense an A+. Barely, because they had injuries and they had suspensions and they went over the line too many times, even though you liked it. They kind of calmed down at the end of the season, didn't have the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. I give them an A+. I give the offense, the best you can give the offense is a C or C-. I'm giving them a C-. Well, you add that together, the special teams, I give it a C.
Okay.
I mean, do you really trust McManus and Colquitt going into the playoffs?
I'm a little worried about McManus.
Okay, so if I'm grading, and I'm going to grade a little bit in their favor, but I'm giving an A+, a C-, and a C to the special teams. If you add that up, that comes to B-. I think that's what it is. A
B- for going 12-4 and getting the number 1 seed? But you're a grouchy professor, man.
Glad you didn't have me at Missouri, aren't you? 2 of their 3 teams.
I didn't get through school as it was.
2 of their 3 teams were average.
Yeah.
You don't agree with that? You think that the special teams...
If you win the division for the 5th straight time and you have quarterback problems and you get the number 1 seed, it's got to be an A.
Speaking of grades, we're going to go away from the Broncos for just a moment because I want to do this. Jeff Bridich and the Colorado Rockies, and you're going, what are you talking to them about? Well, let's bring them up once in a great moon. And I was trying to find a hook. There is not one. But Jeff Bridich, the hook is that the Cleveland Browns just hired DePesto, who used to be the Dodgers, and now with the Mets, and architect, I guess, he's taking credit for it, them getting in the World Series. So the Browns have hired him. Well, there's go outside the box. So that got me to thinking, Jeff Bridich is not going to be fired. They're not going to hire a football guy to come in here based on what they've done in the offseason. And we're well in the offseason. Everybody else in the division has either signed free agents or guys from other countries, or they made trades or whatever. What kind of grade would you give Jeff Bridich? Because the last time we did this at the end of the season, Les Shapiro gave him an incomplete. I gave him a D+. Where would you rank it now?
Well, see, I'm not as grouchy a professor as you are. So I actually think Bridich deserves an F. But because I'm bright and cheery and nice, I'm going to give him a D-. I'm going to pass him through. I'm going to give him a D-.
No, it's an F. What have they done? What have they done in the offseason? They've cut a bunch of people, and they've gotten 2 relief pitchers that don't belong in Colorado. And I'm not – this is not just a general Rockies destroy them kind of deal. They get a fly ball pitcher. They get another guy that's coming off injury. They got 2 guys that nobody else wants. They paid them, actually. I think they overpaid them. And we always talk about they don't pay enough. Well, they overpaid both of them. And I can tell you that nobody in Denver even remembers their name now. Probably won't remember them. And I think it's 2 guys that probably won't even end up making this team. That is totally grounds for failure. That is an F. We have a news break with Molly Hughes. We'll be back.
Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom. An alleged child sex trafficking ring that used Facebook to lure underage girls as sex slaves has been busted apart in light of a 59-count indictment. 6 of the 7 suspects accused in that ring have been arrested and face charges in Arapahoe County. They're accused of forcing 3 underage girls and at least 1 adult female into prostitution in the Denver area and outside of Colorado. Prosecutors say the victims were routinely given drugs and other controlled substances to coerce them into performing sexual acts, and violence was used to control them. 29-year-old Brock Franklin is the alleged ringleader. Prosecutors say he used Facebook to recruit his victims and then met them at hotels and nightclubs. The indictment, which was unsealed last week, also suggests that when Franklin wasn't available, Michelle Payne would rent hotel rooms for the victims to work out of, and she would instruct the girls on how to sell themselves. All the money from the prostitution went to the traffickers. The 3 girls and the 1 woman were given rules to follow and were ordered to meet daily quotas, according to the indictment. Investigators say they have 1 more suspect who remains at large. Prosecutors declined to comment on this because it is still an open case.
Second hour of the sports show with
Second hour? I've been with you an hour already? Seems like years.
Second half hour of the sport. Take two. Second half hour of the sports show is presented by the Denver Post with Mark Kiszla, who is triple threat. He's a 5-tool guy. I should say he's a tool. I'm Woody Paige.
People call me worse.
Speaking of people with 5 tools, should Ken Griffey Jr. be the first unanimous Hall of Fame pick?
You know what? I hope he is, and it'd be great if he was. But you've touched a nerve here. Should a guy be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Should he be unanimous? It doesn't make any difference to me. If you're in the Hall, you're in the Hall. It doesn't make any difference to me whether you get 99% or 100% or 76%. If you're in, you're in. But I did vote for him, and I'm happy I voted for him.
I can't see a reason not to vote for him.
Right.
He wasn't a steroid guy. He was one of the greatest center fielders. If you put in 25 center fielders in the history of the game, he's definitely among the top 25. Well, the other 24 are or will be in the Hall of Fame. Third, he was a good guy.
Right.
He was always a much better guy than his father was, who was here for a while. I think when you consider everything else, that his numbers are legitimate. There was never a taint about him, that he was, except for maybe a couple occasions when he was wanted out of Seattle or something. He's always been a legitimately big-time 5-tool player in Major League Baseball.
Bonds and Clemens, closer to consideration this year?
Yeah, what's happened, and I don't, this has kind of slipped past a lot of people. What's happened is the Hall of Fame and the Baseball Writers Association dumped 100 guys that voted.
Yeah,
it's
down to 475.
They got courtesy voters. They got courtesy votes. And at one time when I was out of sports and in New York, they gave me a lifetime achievement kind of card or something, and I got my regular one back, but I would have been one of those guys. So those are older guys.
Right.
That we're going to be more anti-steroid guys. So I think you're going to see Bonds and Clemens' percentage come up because they'll get a higher percentage.
We'll either get
dumping.
more than 50%. You need 75% to get it.
No, they're not going to go that high. There's still too much of a negative feeling toward both of them.
Let me say this before we go. I voted for Clemens and Bonds this year, and I will vote for them every year.
Yeah, well, I made that decision about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, I actually said, and I tend to agree with the commissioner, the new commissioner, saying if a guy has been found guilty and tested and he was suspended, he said, my opinion is you can't put him in there, but if there's suspicions, and in both the cases here, we're talking about Bonds and Clemens, never got convicted of using steroids. In Bond's case, it was lying to the grand jury, and that was overturned. In the case of Clemens, in the court of law, he never was convicted of doing steroids. So that's where you run afoul of, no pun intended. Who else does make it this year?
I don't. Is Piazza, does that New York influence get him in? I did not vote for him, but I think he'll be in.
I think he'll make it. I wasn't in favor of him yet. I'm not quite there yet, to be truthful. We had a great piece by Buster Only, who talked about how he chose. And he made a great point about how he considered each one. And absolutely, I think Tim Raines belongs in before he goes off the ballot.
I voted him.
I voted for him years and years. I think Kurt Schilling is on the cusp.
I don't think he'll make it.
I'm not ready for him. Mike Messina, I think.
I voted for him. I don't think he'll make it either.
I don't think he'll make it, but I think Jeff Bagwell makes it.
Okay.
So I think they'll keep it to 3. I think it'll be Griffey, us, we. Then it'll be Griffey, Bagwell, and Piazza.
Okay.
And I think Bagwell, it's time for him to go in. Piazza, borderline for me. We'll be back after we tell you about Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village, Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. And not only that, but Colorado's best dealership. When I say that, I'm talking about Greg Stone, but I'm also talking about that great new dealership they built out at I-25 in Bellevue, looking not back to the past, but looking ahead to the future with the waterfall. You go, well, what does that get to do with it? It's a nice environment, and I want to make this one point. What I love about it is they'll bring the cars up to you. You can sit in comfort inside during the wintertime, and they'll bring the car. You don't have to go wandering through the parking lot looking at cars with snow all over them. You say, I want these 3 cars, I want to look at them. They'll bring them up there. Then you can drive them around, and it's a very comfortable situation. That's at I-25 in Bellevue. It's Cooney Lexus.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village for exceptional customer service and world-class amenities. Take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
The Sports Show with Mark and Woody, and we're joined by the Von Miller of the Denver Post. Who are you?
My name is Hugh Johnson. I am a digital sports producer with the Denver Post, and this is What's Trending Now.
Oh my goodness, he's dabbing on it.
Dabbing. Hey guys, so the Royals the Royals have agreed with Alex Gordon to a 4-year, $72 million deal. For him to return to the Kansas City Royals. This kind of takes Kansas City out of the running for Carlos Gonzalez. Yeah. Guys, where else can Cargo potentially land?
I like that deal in Miami. I just like that. I like that you make a deal with Miami and you send
get a young
Cargo
pitcher
and you get Jose Fernandez. I just think there's a guy that's an Ubaldo kind of pitcher there that he won't worry about it. And I would ship him down there, and I would they got one other player. I send Reyes. Make them take Reyes. That is addition by subtraction.
You've been working 24/7 to get rid of Reyes. Yeah. How about this? I don't know if it's this winter, but I like the idea of the St. Louis Cardinals getting a Rockies outfielder to replace Matt Holliday. So Holliday went on to a happily ever after life in St. Louis. How about Cargo gets to do that too?
And I have to back you up on this. They are working Matt Holliday at first base.
Yeah.
So that they think that's his future is. His future is as a designated hitter somewhere. It's not in left field, but they could very well move Cargo in. You'd have to get some good pitching in return. I'd want the Troy Tulowitzki deal, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 pitcher. That's what I'd ask for from the Cardinals.
All right, guys. Colorado Avalanche forward Matt Duchene was selected to his 2nd NHL All-Star game. He has 18 goals this season and 33 points. He is the only Colorado representative. Guys, did anyone get snubbed, and is Duchene deserving of this nomination?
Dutchie had a poor start, and then he caught fire, and since he's caught fire, the team started playing better too. So yeah, I think he's very deserving. Do I think anybody truly got snubbed? No, I really don't.
Well, there's a kid that, but he's not playing up to All-Star sort of numbers this year.
Kid Mack?
Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon?
Duchene, their #1 draft pick in 2009, and he's been kind of up and down, but I think that right now, I think you got to put somebody on from the Avalanche. They got a lot of talent on this team. It's not always displayed properly, but yeah, I saw that and I said, yeah, I would put that kid on. But you got a goofy kind of lineup this year where the fans put in a guy that has been sent down 3 years and he's going to be the captain of one of the 4 teams. But I like this 3-on-3. It's going to be entertainment. I like that the National Hockey League gets out in front of things that other leagues kind of pick up on.
All right. That's it for me, guys.
Thank you. Once again, the Von Miller, but be specific. Who are you and why are you here?
My name's Hugh Johnson. You can catch me on Twitter at HughJohnsonDP. I'm a digital sports producer with the Denver Post, and that was What's Trending Now.
Hugh's appearance was presented by the Celtic Tavern, because you have a background of Irish, aren't you?
I'll say again.
Stop by for some traditional Irish food and taste some of the finest and rarest whiskeys from one of the largest whiskey bars in Colorado, the Celtic Tavern, located just 2 blocks west of Coors Field on Blake. I thought you were Irish.
Hello, my name's Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village. For exceptional customer service and world-class amenities, take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
The Sports Show with Mark Kiszla, Woody Paige with you on the Denver Post website. And you go to a Facebook page, The Sports Show. You can tweet us. We talked earlier, who should start? You can tweet us at The Sports Show, and you can Skype us if you want to at the _sports_show and be a part of the show if you're particularly Connie and whatever the guy's name is or something. Is Stan Kroenke's argument, it has now been disclosed, he had a 3-part argument for why he should be able to move St. Louis. And the only thing that really shocked me was he said St. Louis is a 2-sport town. And I was trying to think, okay, well, they're a baseball town. And then I went, oh, yeah, the St. Louis Blues. Was that right of him to do that? I mean,
Stan Kroenke does not mess around, and he brings a hammer to the negotiating table, and he hammered St. Louis pretty darn good there. Is he correct that St. Louis is a 2-sport city only? No. But he is correct about this, that I don't really think St. Louis would care that much if the Rams left. The religion in St. Louis is the Cardinals, and in that regard, it's a 1-sport town.
He brought up a lot of economic aspects to how St. Louis is struggling, and I thought that went over the edge. I think you could talk about negotiations and how they broke it down, that how Edward Jones Stadium is one of the worst in the league, that they hadn't made the repairs they were promised. So that basically allowed him to make it a year-to-year contract when they didn't put up, I don't know, $25 million to make Edward Jones Stadium newer to what's going on around the rest of the league. And it is, if you look at it objectively, it is antiquated in terms of the NFL. I thought he should have concentrated on why he wanted to move to Los Angeles. And he did that in the other two. So I think Stan, you went a little bit too far. Not a little bit, a lot too far. St. Louis is a good town, and I mean they do have struggles. You went to school not far from there. Yeah. That's always New Orleans, Memphis, St. Louis. You look at the river towns that were so dependent on river commerce. They're always going to struggle. And you don't kick these cities when they're down.
The Nuggets are going to get their rookie point guard back. Emmanuel Mudiay's basically missed a month. He's coming back from an ankle injury. Will his return make a difference?
No, I don't think so. I think they played the first 3 games he was out. They played pretty well. I think they won those games.
Yes, they did.
They got close. They were actually in the playoffs for a few days.
Yeah.
But I think they really missed him. I think they missed his enthusiasm, his pace of play. But I would make sure, because last year in China, he had a similar ankle sprain that limited him to only playing 25 games, and he came back for the playoffs. Then I think when you got a young star like that, you want to protect him as much as you can.
I like what you're saying.
What do I expect him? I would expect him to play 20 minutes a game. Let Jameer Nelson continue to be
Okay. I like what you're saying there, and this is my point. Emmanuel Mudiay is coming back as a backup to get in condition. I think he should be a backup the rest of the year. I think it'd be better served his development as a backup rather than carrying the load 35 minutes a night.
How about if you had Fareed and Mudiay coming off the bench? That would be a high-energy kind of bench coming in. Would Stanford beat Alabama and Clemson?
No, they would not. I think Stanford should have been in instead of Oklahoma. I did not like the Big 12 this year as a football conference, so I think Stanford is definitely a better team than Oklahoma, so I can see the argument that they got jobbed by not getting in the Final Four, but they can't beat either one of those teams.
Well, Nick Saban would make it his life's work to keep a young man from Colorado, Christian McCaffrey, from going off for 300 yards. I could see Alabama. I was constantly amazed, and I loved watching Christian. If he weren't from Colorado, if he weren't my neighbor or anything, I would
You'd
have
still
loved
like watching him.
There was nobody that was more entertaining. There was no better Heisman Trophy quality, and you voted for him.
Yes.
But I think Alabama would find a way to keep his effectiveness down. So I don't think they'd beat Alabama. Clemson, I'm not so sure about. Clemson is still the unknown quantity in the entire college football realm. We won't know about Clemson until they play Alabama, and that's why I think it makes it a good final two, because we've got the undefeated team that we really still don't know about, even though they've got a great quarterback, and I like their coach, but no.
Cowboys looking for a quarterback. Should they go with RG3 or Johnny Manziel?
I'm finished with Manziel. I don't want any part of him. I don't want him in wigs. I don't want him on my bench. I don't want him anywhere. Johnny Manziel is of the millennial aspect of he thinks life owes him a living, that he can do whatever he wants to. There's too many people like that are of a young generation. I can go off to Las Vegas. I got concussion. I'm going off to Las Vegas. I think there's hope for RG3. If he's in the right situation, he's well rested, we know that. I liked him as a person. I liked him as a person when I met him. I liked him as a player in college. I liked him initially in the NFL, and then he got hurt, and all the stuff with Kirk Cousins and Mike Shanahan, and then it's on with Gruden and stuff. I want to see him get another chance, and I think Dallas would be a place where he could fit in nicely behind Romo, who gets hurt every year.
I disagree. I think RG3 is definitely a better person, but I think his body is broken and can't be fixed. Johnny Manziel's head is broken, and I'm not sure it can be fixed, but he at least still has talent, so I would take the risk on Johnny Manziel.
Four on the Floor is sponsored by Citywide Banks, a family-owned, Colorado-focused business bank with 12 locations across Denver and Boulder. I drive past one every day, and we're so used to seeing those 50-story bank buildings. It looks like it belongs in the community. Their people are Colorado people, and they help more than 150 charities every year. Do your banking where we do. I trust in them. You will too if you just meet their people. They're a people bank, Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
At Citywide Banks,
we put you first by exceeding your service expectations every day.
Every day.
Time for one of our favorite segments, Hugh Johnson, and now Madison Faulkner. Yes, she is related, and Madison is here with Madison's mailbag.
That is right. So we have an update on today's poll, and 58% have now chosen Peyton Manning, and 42% thinks that Brock Osweiler should actually start
It's tightening up, Woody, because
so
of my argument and my visual age.
Yeah, but it's still, that still would win any presidential election.
In a landslide.
And that reminds me of the last Indiana, the third Indiana Jones, and you people that are out there, the 58% of it, you've chosen wisely. 42%, you've chosen poorly. And you know what happened to the guy in Indiana Jones? He just evaporated.
Oh, I thought that was the heart came out of the chest or something.
That was the second one.
Okay.
All right, and then our first tweet, we have two tweets from Jamie and Connie both today. So, and then their first tweet is the league complicating what is and what is not a catch? It seems like it should be pretty cut and dry.
I would start with this. Roger Goodell and the league have appointed a fact-finding committee. How's that?
Really?
Ex-players, ex-coaches, members of the competition committee, and they're studying film. They have gathered film from the last 10 years or so over a period of time before those owners' meetings were about the relocation. They are going to sit down and make a recommendation in regard to a catch. It's hard to believe, watching the game last Sunday, Broncos games, other games that I was watching, and I thought, they have so overcomplicated this game that it wasn't that difficult. Every touchdown now, you don't know where the guy's reaching out. Wouldn't it be just to simplify the rules that you cross the goal, your body has to cross the goal, the football has to cross the goal, then you can fumble it. I just think that they've got to not only do something about catches, but every aspect. They need to go through and redline about 50% of the rules.
The NFL rule book is kind of like the U.S. tax code. It's way too complicated. So in regard to catches, just make it the college rule. Catch the ball, 1 foot in bounds, good.
Yeah, we don't see the same kind of controversy in college football.
Awesome. All right, and then our second one, they want to know, this team has kicked and screamed all season. Is this the grittiest Broncos squad you have seen in a long time?
No. Go ahead.
No! Well, that's bam.
Well, you've made references to
It's grittier than take a knee, though, isn't it?
John Elway wants kicking and screaming. Well, they're getting the screaming, but the kicking is not so good.
Oh, okay.
So when I think about grittiest, I don't trust McManus. I don't trust my buddy Colquitt. I don't trust them. I see too many shanked field goals, and I see too many shanked punts coming out of both of them in critical situations. Grittiest squad, no. I'd have to go back to the 90s when they really, and maybe the 80s, the teams that went to the Super Bowl without much talent,
Right.
Those were gritty teams.
Yeah, see, and that's what I kind of resent about the question is when you say gritty, aren't you really saying
untalented?
Yeah, you're not very good. Thank you, man.
There's a lot of great talent defensively on this team. So gritty's not a description.
Michael Schofield, he's kind of gritty.
Yeah, he's kind of feels like something on your teeth after you've been in the sand somewhere. Thank you, Madison
Thanks,
Vogner,
guys.
with her mailbag. You need to attract different people from your mailbag. The day after every Broncos win, get 50% off the regular menu price online orders of Papa John's using this promo code, Broncos. How simple is that? Go to the new papajohns.com and get your pizza.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one. I can work out like one. I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Today's Pick Six is in order, starting at number 6, and number 1 would be the best. Name the best 6 quarterbacks that are in the postseason.
Well, I'm here to upset you, Woody. Number 6 is Kirk Cousins. The Kirk Cousins that couldn't throw to the correct team just a year ago, but he is a hot quarterback, and I think he's going to take down Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in the first round. Number 5, the MVP, Cam Newton. No diss on Cam Newton, but the other 4 are better. Number 4, Tom Brady. I know you love Tom, but Tom is not effective because his offensive line is so bad that it's gotten inside his head. Number 3, Ben Roethlisberger. He can throw the game away, but he could also throw touchdown, and throw the Steelers all the way to the Super Bowl. Number 2, my personal favorite, little Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. And number 1, the guy who's had the best year this season as a quarterback in the NFL and should be the MVP, Carson Palmer.
We do have some disagreement, and I think Kirk Cousins has his our awareness of him has been, he's raised boats, as
Yes.
John Elway would say. But I can't put him on my list because I think, and I considered it, but he's not my top 6, and we have a totally different order. I'm going to start with number 6. I'm putting Russell Wilson there. I still think that he led them through a good period there that kept them alive. I think the defense has reemerged as really the strength of the Seattle Seahawks. So it's not a put down of him. How many teams are in the playoffs? 12. But he's not in the top 6 this year. And I know he's gone to 2 consecutive Super Bowls. Because you have to look at this. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is like John Elway in the 80s that I mentioned. John Elway took teams to the Super Bowl by himself. Aaron Rodgers has that capability. Have we forgotten that it was 3 months ago we thought he was the best quarterback in the league, and now I thought there was a small person that sneaked up behind me.
Madison is sneaking up behind you.
Number five for me is Aaron Rodgers. Number 4 is Carson Palmer. I think that's another team that's relying on its defense. He's done a good job. His record when he's healthy there is outstanding, but their defense, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. But Carson Palmer is not better than these two. Ben Roethlisberger takes a team, puts it on his broad, big shoulders.
Yes.
And I think he's better than the guys that you talk. Ben Roethlisberger, you wouldn't pick Pittsburgh to go anywhere in the playoffs if he were unhealthy. Ben Roethlisberger is one of the top 3. Number 2, Cam Newton. He is going to be the MVP. Whether you like it or not, he's going to be the MVP. I just think lack of experience. Number 1, Tom Brady. Tom Brady has won how many Super Bowls? 4? He's a guy who won the postseason. Someone pointed out behind the scenes, neither one of us put anybody from the Denver Broncos on it.
No.
So you didn't put your boy, I didn't put my man.
No, and this is what I believe. This list is very instructive. The Broncos aren't going to win the Super Bowl with their quarterback, no matter who the quarterback is. They're going to win the Super Bowl with their defense.
All right, I want to finish up with a few quick hitters for you.
Okay.
The Broncos' opponents came out in the Denver Post yesterday, day before yesterday. We talked about the trips, Tampa, Jacksonville.
Oh, the
Florida.
2016 opponents. Got you.
Yeah. What's your prediction today? You go, well, it's too early. He's going to say it's too early. I can't make a prediction now. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback. He's already told us that the Oakland Raiders are going to win the AFC next year. You don't know what they're going to be other than their quarterback and their coach. But tell me today, because I actually went game by game, what do you think their record's going to be? You picked 10-6 this year. I picked 12-4. What do you think is going to happen next year?
7-9.
7-9.
7-9. I think Peyton Manning will be the quarterback of the Houston Texans. I think Brock Osweiler will be the quarterback of 49ers? The New York Jets or the San Francisco 49ers or the Miami Dolphins. I think they'll have a problem at quarterback, and I think this team will struggle next year.
9-7.
Okay.
I'm giving you 9-7. I think a little bit more of you than you do. I don't think they're going to be anywhere where they were this year. I think when you look at the road schedule and you look at the teams that are having to come in here, the Panthers are going to come here. You talked about the other day. Patriots are coming back. Yes, they beat them here this year. Colts are coming here. That's going to be an improved team. Those are 3 tough home games. Oakland Raiders, Kansas City Chiefs are going to be good. You think the San Diego Chargers had to be a little bit better, but that's 6 tough games at home. And then they got to go on the road. Jacksonville's not much. Tampa's not much. And New Orleans is not much. But they've got at least 4 or 5 road games. And I see them losing. This is a team that's going to drop back. It's not going to win the division next year, no matter who the quarterback
So
might
they better
be.
win their Super Bowl this year.
Who should be the right tackle? There's talk now about the guy came in, Quadzilla.
Quadzilla?
That he should be looked at more as a right tackle coming up. Robert, what is his name? Anyway, should Schofield, who started all year at offensive tackle, Columbus replaced him in the second half when Paige came in. You're shaking your head. Who should be the right tackle?
Tyler Columbus. Tyler Columbus was a street free agent. He's a journeyman's journeyman. He's not a great player, but if you're going to make the argument to me that Peyton Manning should be the quarterback because of his experience, then why wouldn't you start the experienced right tackle over the kid? It's the same idea to me. At least Columbus has experience in this league.
Here's something you don't know. While you were gone, yesterday I picked my Broncos MVP. I want you to think about who your MVP is all year long. I stepped out of bounds here. A lot of people say that. I picked Matt Paradis.
Really?
He played every snap all year long. Bear with me for a second.
Okay.
You get the final word here today. He played every snap this year. He played on an offensive line where they were in and out all around him.
That's
you would
fair.
agree with that. Matt Garcia, Mathis, guys were in and out at left tackle, right? He played every snap. He had to call the signals. He played with two different quarterbacks. You know that that's different for a center. That he wasn't, as we talked about early in the year, we thought he was going to be just overwhelmed at center. He really didn't get beat much. He was pretty solid, I thought, throughout. And you think about all the other people who had an effect and played every game all year long. How many people really did that during the course of the season? And started every snap of the year. I don't know another guy on either side of the ball that played every snap all season long. Matt Paradis, who is your MVP to end the day?
You gave if I remember, you gave the offense like a C-, and you picked a center off of offense. You gave a C-. The defense defined this team, and the secondary defined this defense. And the best player in the secondary is Chris Harris Jr., and Chris Harris Jr. is the MVP of this team. And Matt Paradis, geez.
Well,
you've come up with some harebrained ideas.
Well, not anymore today. This has been the Sports Show with Mark Kiszla and Woody Paige. Well, both.
That's all, folks.
And coming up, Molly Hughes with the news.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom. A 16-year-old girl accused of plotting to kill staff and classmates at Mountain Vista High School told investigators she would continue her mass murder plot if she is released from custody. Sienna Johnson is one of two 16-year-old students arrested after the Douglas County Sheriff's Department was tipped off to the murder plot against their high school in December. We're not showing Johnson's picture because she is a minor, but she is being charged in adult court, at least for now. Her alleged accomplice also appeared in court Tuesday, but she will undergo a mental health evaluation before a decision is made on what, if any, charges will be filed against her. Tuesday's hearing in adult court revealed more details about what the teens allegedly planned. Investigators say the two girls had detailed maps of Mountain Vista High School, including noting where specific people were located and where the sheriff's deputies are stationed around the campus. Prosecutor George Brockler says the girls took a significant step toward carrying out their plot, but he won't say exactly what that action was. We also learned in court the alleged plot was to be carried out in the days leading up to Christmas in order to inflict maximum damage and heartache. A $1 million bond has been set for Sienna Johnson, and prosecutors do reserve the right to move this case back to juvenile court if evidence makes that a more appropriate option.